The ironic part is that for years people have been saying Saudi Arabia needs to step up and lead. Why do they want us to fight their wars for them? Why do they want us to solve their problems for them? The countries of the region have enough resources, they should do it on their own. And so we were being criticized for not leading. And then when we lead, we're being criticized for, why did you do this? So it's one of those things where it's damn if you do and damn if you don't. And from my perspective, it's like, tell me which one is going to take place. If you want us to lead, then support us. And if you don't want us to lead, show us who's going to lead. But you can't criticize us for not stepping up and then criticize us when we do step up. There's a hypocrisy in this. So is it a new Saudi doctrine? When you have a vacuum, evil forces flow into the vacuum unless you do something about it. And we are determined to protect our citizens and our country and our borders from all evil. And so we had no choice but to intervene in Yemen, as I pointed out.
Thank you. I also wanted to ask, Saudi Arabia's international relations and international image are shaped in part by the role of influential religious clerics from your country, some of them appointed by the state, some of them completely independent. How does that affect your job? For instance, we've seen recent comments reported from the Grand Mufti about the leaders of Iran, which have prompted a reaction from the Iranian foreign minister. Should the government be trying to influence what religious clerics say when it comes to foreign policy? Should it leave them to be more independent? How do you see this?
It's and again, there's this issue of if people speak, people criticize you for letting them speak. If you muzzle them, you get criticized for taking away their freedom of speech. So which one is it? I think that in Saudi Arabia, our religious scholars are focused on religion. That's what they do. In terms of foreign affairs, we focus on foreign policy and we focus on diplomacy and relations with other nations. I believe that what prompted the reaction from religious scholars with regards to Iran are the statements made by the supreme leader of Iran, Ali Khamenei, when he criticized Saudi Arabia during the Hajj and tries to put blame on us for Iran not participating in this year's Hajj. So when the Iranians then attack us, I think it shouldn't be surprising that Saudis would respond, including religious scholars, that no, the mistake was committed by you. And you bear the responsibility for this mistake.
Ewan McCaskill, I'm a reporter in the Guardian newspaper. You said that the Saudi Air Force is professional and they use precise weapons. We've been tracking this from the start, and according to our analysis, and it's fairly conservative, about a third of the targets hit are civilian. The sort of schools, hospitals, marketplaces, economic infrastructure. So, I mean, it's hard to sort of square, more than a third civilian targets with sort of being professional and precise. I mean, this looks like a sort of clear breach of international humanitarian law.
Thank you. As you know, these are very hot issues in the UK just now.
Yes, no, I know. With regards to the issue of schools and hospitals and so forth, I think a lot of it is vastly exaggerated. The Houthi Salih have turned schools and hospitals and mosques into command and control centers. They have turned them into weapons depots, and in a way that they're no longer civilian targets, they're military targets. They may have been a school a year ago, but they were not a school when they were bombed. When you have a building that used to be a school that has become a weapons depot, it's no longer a school, it's a weapons depot. There is a fault with how information is gathered in Yemen, which is not accurate. People say this was a school. Well, maybe it was a school 2 years ago, but it wasn't a school when it was bombed. And then they say the coalition hit a school. Not true. People accused us, the coalition, of bombing a wedding party in which 120 people died. We had no planes the day of the wedding, the day before the wedding, or the day after the wedding. But I don't see anyone retracting the charge. We were accused of bombing the old city of Sana'a, common heritage of mankind, when we had no flyers anywhere near the old city. I don't see anyone coming and saying, sorry, we charged you incorrectly. We're accused of dropping cluster bombs, British-made cluster bombs, 755B. Amnesty reports, and for months the media talks about how we used cluster bombs in Yemen. Well, guess what? The cluster bombs were bought in 1985. By 2005, they were obsolete. Great Britain could not extend the shelf life of the cluster bombs because the US signed conventions. And our airplanes, the Tornado airplanes we bought from Britain, the electronic warfare systems, when they were upgraded to accommodate new munitions, the ability to accommodate cluster bombs was removed because Britain signed a treaty to that effect. So if you have a bomb that's a dud, and you have a platform, the airplane, that can't use the bomb, how can we have dropped it? Where's the logic? Okay, there's a bomb in Yemen that didn't explode, so we're investigating to see how it got there. But people jump to conclusions when it comes to Saudi Arabia and the coalition. And then things get exaggerated and gets repeated, and it becomes a fact. And nobody takes a step back and says, wait a minute. Let's be reasonable. Let's have an informed discussion. What interest do we have in killing children in Yemen? Yemen is our neighbor. We have been by far the largest supporter of Yemen for the past 40 years. By far. We have 4 million Yemenis living in Saudi Arabia. Why do we want to antagonize them? I don't see criticism about child soldiers by the Houthis. I don't see criticism about indiscriminate bombing by the Houthis. I don't see criticism about the Houthis violating international resolutions and taking over a country. I don't see criticism of the Houthis lobbing ballistic missiles at Saudi Arabia. But I see criticism of Saudi Arabia in defending a legitimate government based on international law and based on United Nations. They shell indiscriminately. They starve people. They hijack humanitarian assistance. And yet, these charges that are leveled at the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the coalition, when they turn out to be bogus, nobody stands up and says, sorry, we were misinformed. They just go on to the next one.